I had always tried to keep a peaceful home. After my husband passed away 5 years ago, it was just me and my stepson, Caleb. He was 15 when everything changed for us. I became his only parental figure, and though we weren't biologically related, I loved him like my own son. His mother had left when he was a baby, and I came into his life when he was 6. It wasn't easy stepping into that role, but I did my best every single day. Caleb had always been quiet. Not shy, just reserved. He'd often keep to himself, preferring to spend time in his room with his headphones on, his face buried in his laptop. I gave him space. That's what you're supposed to do with teenagers, right? Let them figure themselves out, support them from a distance. He was respectful and didn't give me much trouble. Until that night. It was a Friday evening. I had just finished up a long day at work and decided to unwind with a book in the living room. Caleb had told me he was staying in that night, which was unusual. He usually went to his friend Josh's house. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe he just wanted some alone time. A little after 10 p.m., I heard noises coming from the kitchen. At first, I thought he was just getting a snack, but then something didn't sit right with me. The sounds were too quiet, too intentional. Like someone trying not to be heard. I walked toward the kitchen slowly, barefoot, careful not to make a sound. When I reached the doorway, I saw him. He was standing with the refrigerator door open, but his attention wasn't on the food. Caleb was going through the small drawer where I kept emergency money. Cash I rarely used, but always kept there for situations like power outages or grocery runs when the card reader didn't work. He was holding a few folded 20s in his hand, staring at them like he wasn't sure if he was actually going to take them. But I knew that look. He had already made up his mind. That hesitation was guilt, not decision-making. "Caleb," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. He jumped like I'd shot him with a taser. The money fluttered to the floor. His face went pale, eyes wide with a mix of shame and panic. I wasn't. "You were," I said quietly. "You were stealing from me." He bent down and picked up the bills, holding them out toward me. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He trailed off. I walked into the kitchen and took the money from his hand, more stunned than angry. Caleb had never done anything like this before. He wasn't a perfect kid, no one is, but this felt like a breach of trust so deep, I didn't know what to say. "Why?" I finally asked. He looked away, chewing on his lower lip. "It's stupid. Tell me anyway." "I needed it. For something at school." "What something?" He took a breath, then another. I could tell he was battling inside, whether to tell the truth or spin a lie. Finally, he gave in. "There's this kid, Trent. He's been giving me a hard time. First it was just words, but now he's demanding stuff. Money. Said if I don't pay him, he'll make sure everyone sees something. A video. From a party last year." I blinked. "What kind of video?" I was drunk. It was stupid. Josh dared me to dance on the table. Shirtless. Someone recorded it. I didn't even know until last week. I stared at him, my heart sinking. "So you're being blackmailed?" He nodded. "I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to look weak. And I thought I could handle it. But then Trent said he'd send it to the school principal. He said they might even call the police because we were drinking." I sat down at the kitchen table, the cash still clutched in my hand. Caleb stood there like a criminal, shoulders hunched, not meeting my eyes. "I don't care about the money, Caleb. I care that you didn't talk to me. That you felt like you had to handle this alone. I didn't want to disappoint you." My heart broke a little at that. "You didn't disappoint me. But stealing, even if you felt desperate, that's not the way." He nodded slowly. "I know." We sat in silence for a few moments. Then I asked, "Has he done this to anyone else?" "I don't know. Maybe. He's got a reputation. But no one talks about it." The next day, I made some calls. I spoke to the school counselor and explained everything, without naming names yet. I needed to know what the procedure was, what rights Caleb had. I wasn't going to let this go. After years of raising him, loving him like my own, I realized this was my moment to truly protect him. The counselor was understanding and advised us to come in and talk. On Monday morning, we did. Caleb was reluctant but trusted me enough to follow. We explained what had happened, who was involved, and even showed the threatening messages Trent had sent. To my surprise, the school took it seriously. Turns out, they had received other complaints about Trent, but none with proof. Caleb's bravery gave others the courage to come forward. By the end of the week, Trent was suspended pending investigation. The school offered Caleb support, and the counselor checked in with him regularly. I could tell it meant a lot to him, not just the help, but the feeling of being heard and supported. At home, things changed too. Our bond became stronger. He started opening up more, joining me for dinner without being asked, talking about his day. I made an effort to listen, even when I was tired or distracted. I realized that being a parent didn't stop when a child turned 18, or even 16. It was about presence, trust, communication. One night a few weeks later, Caleb knocked on my bedroom door. It was nearly midnight. "Can I talk to you?" Of course. He sat on the edge of the bed, fidgeting with the hem of his hoodie. "I just wanted to say thank you. For not freaking out that night. For helping me. I'll always be here, Caleb. You never have to handle anything alone." He nodded. "I know that now. I didn't before." We sat in comfortable silence. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed. "What?" I asked. "Just thinking how weird life is. One second you're about to steal a few bucks, and the next, your whole world changes." It was true. That night in the kitchen changed everything. For both of us. It exposed cracks I didn't know were there, but it also gave us the chance to rebuild on something stronger. In the months that followed, Caleb began mentoring a younger student at school who was going through bullying. He told me he felt like he owed it to himself, and others, to make sure no one else felt as alone as he had. As for me, I learned a lot too. I learned that silence can be more dangerous than any mistake. That trust isn't just something you give, but something you build. And that even when you think you've seen the worst in someone, sometimes it's just a cry for help. Looking back now, I don't think of that night as the worst night of our lives. I think of it as the night we both woke up. The night that forced us to be honest, to be brave, and to finally lean on each other the way family is supposed to. That kitchen drawer still holds the emergency cash, but it's never been touched again. Not because of rules or fear, but because now, Caleb knows he doesn't need to take. He just needs to ask. And that changed everything. Forever.